Hey guys, Common Sense Outdoorsman here. Out here in my little RV, and the topic tonight is going to be about what kind of tools I actually take with me when I go on a kind of an overnighter backpacking type trip. In other words, I'm not car camping, or I'm not, going to a cabin or things like that. I'm just putting a pack on and I'm going out and I'm going to sleep on the ground or in a shelter I make, whatever, under a tarp in a tent, and I'm going to be out there in the woods. So what kind of tools do I actually take? Because I'm making these videos and you're watching me beat these knives and do all this batoning and chopping with them, and those are just tests. That's not actually why I take those knives with me and how I use them all the time. Matter of fact, I might have knives with me and actually use them very little. So, I just put up a video on a workout on this Tops Tanamboka, and I don't know how long this video is going to go. I'll try to keep it under 15 minutes, I didn't baton it. I did a little tip work, I think, but I kind of mostly made shavings and feathers and scraped a ferrocerium rod with it and started the fire. More typical knife stuff. So I did something a little different there, because typically when I'm out with my knife, if I'm backpacking and I'm going to stay overnight, I don't even use my knife that much. And if I do or use it more, it's because I'm probably just playing with it and having fun and trying to not be bored, and I use my knife in that way. So yeah, I don't use my knives the way you see me when I'm doing knife tests. So and what I take with me for tools can be a little different, depends on how many days I go out for. I'll be honest with you, probably the longest I've been out in the woods with the backpack on and just carried what I could carry, maybe 4 nights. I did that with my son. So typically I'm doing 1 night, 2 night, stuff like that, and because of time and other things, and the fact that I'll tell you, when we stayed out, it was in I think it was either November, December, in the mountains of Virginia, in St. Mary's Wilderness, and after the 3rd night, we were ready to get out of there. So I'm not going out and staying out for 3 weeks, a month, or what have you. And I remember when we left, we went right to the pizza shop. We were really hungry. Even though we had a lot of food with us, our belts got looser. But anyways, what do I carry? And I carry an array of different tools, and for different reasons. So typically, let me start this way, and I'm going to take you down. I don't know if you guys like looking at my face when I do videos, or would you rather not look at my face and I just put the camera on the stuff and you don't see my face? Let me know in the comments. If I make videos, less face or more face, which do you like? Let me know in the comments. But anyways, if I go out on a typical backpacking overnighter, or maybe 2 nights or what have you, in the very least, I'm going to have something like this. I'm going to have a belt knife, and let's use the Tops Tanamboka. I might have that. I'm trying to make a little room here on the tail. I might have just a simple small belt knife, and let me throw this in there because this is my Victorinox Classic, and this is going to be a given. It's got a pick. You can pick your nose, pick your teeth, pick your toenails, pick whatever you want with it. And then it's got the tweezers, which come in handy. It's got a nice thing if you want to hang it on a chain. And you've got the file, little flat edge there. And you got the little pen knife. I don't have to take that out. And you got the scissors. But this Victorinox Classic is probably, it is. This is my most used knife. and I carry this with me every day. This goes with me no matter. So this is always a given. So I'm going to have a belt knife, this, and then I might have a pocket knife. And this is a different knife that you got, this folding knife. This is a Ganzo. And, you know, and I'll have a typical pocket knife. This is 440C with the, gee, what do they call that lock? Benchmade started, the axis lock, you know. So in the very, very least, I'm going to have a loadout something like these three. Now this is going to vary depending on what I'm going to do. Okay. Now if I know that I'm not going to do much and I've got a tarp, which I typically sleep under a tarp, and I'm going out for one night and I don't really need a lot, I might take something like, I'm going to have at least these three, something like this on me. That's going to be the minimum. If I go a little longer and I might want to play with some things and maybe do some shelter building or make a spear or make a little stool or whatever, then I'm going to go a little bit more. And one thing I like to roll into my loadout is a big knife. And we talked about this before. Big knife, I don't mind hatchets. I use hatchets. I just prefer the big knife like the Condor Hudson Bay because I just feel like I get more versatility. I think I talked about that before in other videos. And I can chop small trees with this. I can delimb a lot of stuff. It's still a knife. I can still do all kinds of knife tasks and shavings and feather sticks. I can split wood. I can. This to me typically, I'm just not gonna need an axe. I'm not building large shelters. I'm not taking down large trees. Here in Colorado, there's plenty of dead stuff that you can push down and drag to your camp, and it's just, you just don't need to have an axe if you're backpacking. I'm not saying it's not right to have an axe. It's just my preference. I just like the big knife, okay? And I do have axes, and we'll talk about that another time. But anyways, if I'm going to go out a little longer, I think I'm going to do a little bit more, and I'm going to want to have some more fun. I'm going to take a knife like this Condor Hudson Bay, okay? So we'll put that in there. There's 4 knives. Put this down a little bit more. There's 4 knives. And then I may decide, you know, I think there's a lot of black bears around here. You know, I want something a little stabby, a little longer and easy to maneuver. I might take my Cold Steel Outdoorsman Light, okay? 6-inch blade, weighs nothing, easy to take also. I may have that with me, and this is what will be sleeping with me basically at night. So I might decide I want that also, and I may take that to include these, and I may decide that, hey, I want to, you know, hey, let me take my my Wanger. I want to, you know, mess with this little, you know what these are. It's got all the different tools in there. This one has scissors. I'm not going to take them all out, save time. It's got a saw, scissors, file, screwdriver, and all that kind of good stuff on it. So that could come in handy in the outdoors. So I might throw that in there. So now I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I got 6 knives, you know. I may not want the smaller belt knife. Sometimes I may want something a little bigger, and you know, here's one I don't think you've seen. This is the Kershaw Bear Hunter. I had that little orange-handled antelope hunter before. This is the bigger bear hunter. I might want a bigger belt knife. Maybe I take something like this, okay, and have something bigger. Or maybe I have something even a little bit bigger than that, like the Schrade SEHF 42. That's about a lot closer to a 5-inch knife. And maybe I have that knife, something a little bit bigger, okay? So it depends. And what you guys see me do with my belt knife, okay, here's another one of my belt knives, you've seen it. What you guys see me do in the videos and testing, I'm not really doing all that stuff unless it's just for fun or out of boredom with my knife. If I'm here in Colorado, if I'm gonna start a fire, if I can have a fire, you have to be careful with fires here in Colorado. But it could be as simple as finding the spruce and pine trees and all those dead limbs that are coming off the side down low. They're all dried out. They're sealed off from the tree. The tree's alive, but those little sticky limbs are still are dead and dry. You snap those off. You get the real thin ones. You break them up, snap them off. Maybe put some pine needles in there. Maybe just make a couple of shavings, light your match or your lighter, whatever you want to do, and boom, you got a fire. I'm not going out and taking my belt knife all the time and batoning wood and making a bunch of feather sticks and chopping at stuff. That's not really what I do all the time with the knives, okay? So if I want to do chopping or delimbing or stuff, that's why I would really take this bigger knife, or sometimes the little hatchet, okay? By the way, this elk hunter, the Uncle Henry elk hunter, if you remember, I had that guard problem. That guard came off, and there'll be a video coming out soon on how that repair came out. So you'll see that coming up soon, and you might make a guess because you're looking at the knife right now. But anyways, that video will be coming out. You know, I may decide to take a folding knife like this with me. This is is it UST? Yeah, a UST knife, cheapo Chinese folding knife. The handle glows in the dark. I like it for some reason. It's nothing big, but 440C, and I just kind of, I don't know. I may take this with me. It's got a clip in the back. You can clip it on your pack. You know, it's just an interesting different. I might have that one instead of this pocket knife, okay? Or I may decide I want to take something a little bit more old-fashioned like they did in the 1800s, this little copperhead pattern knife. This is a Rough Rider, and I don't know if you guys are into Rough Rider knives, but I like them, and they're still real cheap. I mean, you can get a lot of good stuff between $12 and $15, but this is just a two-bladed, you know, this is how they did it in the old days. It's just a two-bladed. There's the clip point. This is an older model of a Rough Rider. It doesn't have half stops or anything fancy, and then you've got a little skinning blade or something to clean fish with or whatever. I mean, that's a great knife. I may take this knife with me, just, you know, it's just fun, and put that in my pocket. I may have that. I may have 7 knives with me. I may have the big chopper, the pointy long knife. I always got this. There's 3. I may have the Rough Rider copperhead slip joint for some fun. I may have my SAK with me. That's 5. And then I may have a normal belt knife, 6. And then maybe I decide to take my multi-tool. And this is the Leatherman 300. And I don't always, actually I very rarely take a, and you know what these look like, I won't take that all out, but I very rarely have a multi-tool with me if I'm out in the woods and I'm, you know, doing an overnight or a 2 nights, because it just has a lot of tools on it and it's some weight that I'm just not going to use it. And the SAK, the Swiss Army knife, will probably take care of what I'm going to do. And this is real light. And so I don't, you know, I don't have the multi-tool with me most of the time, and to me it's more of like a mechanical type tool than it is a woodsy tool. I know, you know, you guys who are doing trapping and you're doing other things out there. I don't trap, and maybe this comes more in handy with you, for you, but I don't take that a lot, okay? Or maybe I don't have the copperhead pattern. Maybe I take the 3-bladed trapper here. That's a marbles. Maybe I have that with me to have some fun with. Okay, it could be. Also, so those are the knives. But besides the knives, what will I have? Well, I'm going to have a saw. And a saw is, I don't know, you just got to have a saw. When I'm, you know, building a shelter or need to take down some dead standing trees or some small trees, and I just, you know, want some tree limbs, I don't go with my belt knife and start chopping away and chopping it down. I do that in test videos. I saw it down, okay? I use the saw. And something as simple as this Corona razor tooth. Love this saw, and I know a lot of you guys are using the silky saws. I don't have a silky saw, but I know they're great too, and other saws. I have another one that I got from Ollie's a couple of years back. It was like on clearance. I think I paid $2 or $3 for it. I wish I could remember the brand name. I squirreled it away somewhere and haven't found it since. But so I'm going to have a saw. This is the 7-inch Corona razor tooth. It cuts on the pull stroke, and I mean, if I have this saw, I'm pretty much all set. If I thought I was going to get into some bigger cutting, I'm going to take my Fiskars 13-inch pruning saw. If you don't have this saw, get this saw. This one cuts on the pull stroke also, you know, and then the forward stroke is more of a clearing stroke to get all the wood chips out of there, and that way you don't bend or break your saw. That's why it works that way. But this is a 13-inch pruning saw, and this thing cuts. This thing is unbelievable. I've got 4 or 5 of these, and it weighs nothing, okay? It doesn't come with the sheath. It just comes with the little plastic guard, but that works. And with the guard on, you can put it in your pack if you wanted to put something around the guard to keep it on there. Or I can put it through the Miley loops on my pack, but I usually like to have things in my pack because you think you've got things securely attached to the outside, and then you go to get it, and oops, it's gone. It came off your pack. So try to get everything inside your pack. But this Fisker Saw, I don't know. It's been a few years since I bought one. I don't know if it's changed or anything, but these things, these cut, they're worth their weight in gold. And if you, for some reason, you knew you were going to get into some bigger trees over 6 inches to do some sawing on, this is a great saw. So I might have this saw. I might have my Corona saw. I have a few other kind of saws, but I'm going to have a saw with me also. So, you know, this pile of stuff here, this may be my loadout, depending, okay? I may not have this big Hudson Bay. I may be going out for one night and no, I'm not going to do a lot of delimbing and stuff. I may take a different big knife. I may take something like that, a little smaller. I think this blade's less than 6 inches. This is the larger, this is the Nieto Coyote stainless steel knife, and I may have, that may be my big knife. You know, I could do a little chopping and some more batoning and stuff like that, what have you, but I may have this as a big knife. That may be in my pile, okay? Or something like this larger steel will. You saw my smaller one. This is about 5.5-inch blade. This is a steel will Druid. What number is this one? The 260. Okay, it's a great knife. 9CR18 MOV steel. Okay, nice leather sheath. You know, that may be my largest knife that I have with me. I may have this setup right here and all those knives. Okay. So, yeah, that's, I just didn't want you guys to think that I'm out there with my belt knife and doing all this work with it. I'm really not, and I will do more videos on what I would normally do, just like I did on the last one with the top stand and Boca Puco. I just kind of used it as a knife, and that's basically what I would do with my knife. I may, instead of having this knife, this large knife, I may have something that's like this Schrade. You remember seeing this one? I think this is about 9-inch blade, but it's light. It's a machete type knife and a little bit lighter than the Hudson Bay, but it can still do some limbing and some chopping and so on and so forth. I don't usually carry machetes. I've never really been in an environment where the machete would be my top choice. I could see why it would be. I like machetes, and you can do a lot of things with some larger machetes, especially if you got to do some clearing and stuff like that. But I don't. I have a couple of machetes. They're scrolled away, but I don't really use them all that much because of, you know, the area I'm in. I was in Virginia for 22 years, and now I'm in Colorado, and don't use the machete too much. So guys, that's all I wanted to talk about. Just a little bit more knife talk and what I actually do with my tools. If I need to take down a small tree, I'm going to use this. I saw it down. I don't chop it with my little knife. I don't baton my little knife through it or stuff like that. I use a saw. If I'm going to do some delimbing, I'm going to use a bigger type knife like this, maybe a small hatchet. Sometimes I like just a long blade, lightweight, skinny knife, just something that's a little stabbier, and that's the knife I'm going to sleep with. Okay, and if I want to do different little tasks and whittling and other kind of woodwork, I may play with one of my slip joints and small folders and just have fun with it. You can do a lot. You can do a lot with a small folder. Okay. All right, guys. Common Sense Outdoorsman. Let me know in the comments, what do you think about this kind of talk? I mean, does this seem to you like a, you know, reasonable use of these type of tools when you're going off in the woods for a couple of nights? I think so. What do you use? What kind of a combination of stuff do you like to use? And don't forget to comment. Do you want to see my face in videos, or do you want me to hide my face more in videos? I'm just curious. Let me know. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Common Sense Outdoorsman. We'll talk to you later.